Do you like scary movies? What about true crime? Are you into anything spooky? Well, you're in the right place. Welcome to Creep It 100.
Hello, guys, and welcome back to the Creep It 100 podcast. I am Kinson.
I am Mark.
And today, we are back on our true crime bullshit. For some reason, it feels like we haven't done this for a while.
Because we haven't.
We recorded one, and then we had so much extra shit to record that we just, we haven't done this for a long time. So I'm excited to get back to it. Today, we're going to be talking about JonBenét Ramsey, which is a case that spanned almost 30 years now. It's, 2022? Yeah.
23.
Oh. Okay, 3 years off of 30 years, so we're at 27 years still going strong on this case, which is still unsolved. Spoiler. How much do you know about this case?
I know a little bit.
A little bit.
Yeah.
What does a little bit mean?
I know that she was like a pageant girl,
Mm-hmm.
and that she went missing in her own house.
Yeah.
That's all I know.
Really? Okay. Before the research that I conducted today, the only thing I really knew was, yeah, I knew that she was a pageant girl, and I knew that it was a lot of suspicion that the family did it.
Yeah.
And that's basically all I knew. I did not know a ton of other shit, obviously, because there's a lot more to learn about it. Real quick before we get into this, though, we had an event last night.
Yes, we did.
We had an event at Zapata's. It went fantastic. This will come out
Weeks
after.
the fact.
But thank you guys for everybody that came out. It was a fantastic time. It was super fun. Normal work shift for me, to be honest, because I was working the whole thing. But yeah, it was fantastic. Thank you guys for showing up, and we are looking forward to doing another one soon.
Yes.
Big shout out to Zapata's for letting us do that. Big shout out to Gloria for organizing that for us. And we look forward to coming back.
And a big shout out to everyone that came.
Huge shout out to everybody that came. We had a
Yes.
ton of people. I think we filled out like 40 tables by the end of the night of just our people, which is awesome. Yeah, raised a good amount of money for the pod. We're going to be doing some good stuff. And we got some stuff in the works. So thank you guys.
Because of you.
Yeah. All right. So getting into this case, we're starting our story on December 26th of 1996.
That's my aunt's birthday.
Is it really?
December 26th is, yeah.
I didn't figure she was.
Oh.
I didn't figure she was 27.
Yeah.
So.
The one you met yesterday.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. This takes place in Boulder, Colorado. Our story starts with Patsy Ramsey, who is the mother of JonBenét. She calls 911 saying that she found a ransom note on her stairs and that her daughter is missing. This is at 5:52 in the morning. And immediately they go to her house and they they read through the note, and they immediately send people out to start looking or do whatever they do in a missing person. I don't really know the first steps. It's not really a lot of clues to follow yet. But for some reason, nobody checked the house, which is very weird to me, and we'll get into a little more of why that's fucking weird to me later. But it's not until about 8 hours later that a detective says, have you tried just looking around? And then the body is then found 8 hours later from the moment that she put in this ransom, or put in the 911 call. The body is found in the basement with duct tape on her mouth and a cord around her neck. The body is discovered by the father, John Ramsey. He, over the years, has spoken about this discovery hundreds of times at this point. This case was all over the media, still continues to be all over the media. I mean, I see 60-minute portions about this case to this day. When I was doing my research, the most recent one that was posted was a month ago.
Yeah.
By 60 Minutes, still doing another thing, which follows John Ramsey, who is still actively trying to figure out what happened, which is one of the reasons that I will say that I don't think that he's that much of a suspect in my mind, because it's been 27 years and he's still writing governors and arguing with the police to try to get evidence, to try to send it to different labs to see where DNA, blah, blah, blah. He's really gunning for this. At this point in time, Patsy has passed the other sibling that was in the house, and JonBenét's brother. His name is Burke. And Burke was also put on the chopping board for a long time, but he has not done a social media appearance or any media appearance up until like maybe 2 years ago.
Really?
He went
like
on, ever. His parents completely blocked him away and like hid him from all this. And then he decided to go on Dr. Phil and just say that he didn't do anything in a super, super weird interview where he's like smiling the whole time about it. And like, he starts off with like, "Did you kill your sister?" And then he's like,
Did you
yeah, do it for me.
kill your sister?
And then he's like almost like giggling, saying no. It's weird. A lot of people. That was such a good impression, first of all. That was crazy good for Dr. Phil.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I've never done a Dr. Phil impression.
It was really
in
good
my
for that.
life. That was my very first one.
Find that hard to believe now.
I don't know, man. I'm just naturally good at picking up
Impressions.
I don't know why.
That's fine. It's
a
not
curse.
It's not a bad skill.
It's a curse.
Oh, okay. It's a curse, not a gift.
I don't abuse it like.
Don't abuse it like all the people on YouTube that do.
No.
Fucking.
There's no like. It's so overdone.
What is it? One man, 35 voices and shit like that.
What is it? What? I'm Black Griffin, and today.
Oh my God! It is Black Griffin. That's so funny. I can see his face.
I'm going to do all the voices from Harry Potter.
Bro, that dude makes me mad. Is that the dude that does costumes too? Yeah, he puts on like a few like little costumes when he does the voice.
I will never forget his Harry Potter one. He did Voldemort. He goes, instead of Avada Kedavra, he goes, I have a banana.
I've never seen the Harry Potter one. I've only ever watched the singing ones.
I remember he did Harry Potter, and for some reason he's like, I love pie.
He's just saying shit.
Just random shit.
He must have just like gone on like just like a sentence generator, and then just been like click, and then they said it as that sentence or something.
Had to have. Black Griffin, if you're watching, fuck you.
First of all, we know you're watching.
Yeah.
Black Griffin, we know you're a fan of the show. We've seen the likes.
I wish.
Could you imagine? That'd be such an obscure person to like.
Talented guy. I'm not gonna lie. He is. Very talented.
He did a really good. Who sings the Summer of '69? Bruce Springsteen.
I think so. That sounds right.
Yeah. He did a really, really good one of him, and he did. No, I'm thinking of the other fucking guy. There's another guy that does musical impressions, and he's weird. He looks fucking weird. He's got a big ass head, and he did Cheerleader, and it was really gross. And he has fucked up teeth. All right. Anyway,
He didn't see that.
yeah, that's okay. Wrapping back, we'll go back to the actual case.
No. I don't think we need to get back to that at all. To be honest.
just talk about this.
This came with the hot ones, hot sauce. I forgot to show you that.
Oh wow, we're heatonists.
Yeah, we're heatonists now. We're certified heatonists.
Yeah,
now,
official
guys.
license heatonists, boys. I don't know when that episode's coming out, but
we're pushing it forward. It's gonna be. That should be 40 now.
Okay, cool. Well
this
then,
is
yeah,
41.
you saw me get fucked up last week.
That picture I sent you today of you just suffering.
It's the first one I've seen from it.
It's a good picture.
All right.
I see our producer cheesing over there.
So
I also rewatched the clip of Chorcy taking his and going, oh,
when he braces for impact.
how's that one?
It has a bit of a sweet taste to it. I like it.
It does have flavor.
He's racing.
Oh, dude, I could literally see your eyes starting to water up. That was crazy. I saw the liquid rush in from the ducts, my boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that shit was.
I watched that clip because he was like, it's not that bad, and he goes, oh.
Oh my god, yeah, that was rough. All right, back to JonBenét Ramsey. Back to John Ramsey, actually.
Yeah.
So, like I said, the discovery of the daughter in the basement, he is the one that found her. There's two conflicting reports which are weird about this. In his interviews, he always sticks to the exact same story, saying, I walked around the corner. She was like halfway in the doorway. He walked around the corner, and he instantly got like a super big feeling of relief because he found her. And then it wasn't until like later that he actually realized she was dead. So that's what he says.
He found her body but didn't realize she was dead.
Yeah, because she was in a doorway, so he only saw like part of her. He saw like the legs and shit. He just saw his daughter on the ground and was like, oh my God, there she is. She's not missing. And then walked up, realized, oh my God, she's dead. And then...
Okay, I thought it was like a prolong, like, oh, she's alive. Like 8
No.
minutes later. No.
8 months.
I said eight
Oh.
minutes. 8 minutes.
No. It was like the initial, he always says the initial was like, oh my God, I found her, thank God. Then I realized she was dead, and then, like, you know, it took a different turn. But the official reports from this day say that he was in the basement, and he was looking around, and then he just fucking screamed the second he saw her. Like, loud as fuck. But then he picks her up and carries her all the way upstairs immediately during this scream, completely compromising the entire crime scene.
That fucks up evidence so bad.
It fucks up everything.
That was literally the first thing that crossed my mind was, God damn it.
Yeah. But also, why did he have time? There was a detective in the house. Why did he have time to scream and then carry her all the way up the stairs? Why would the officer not run to that, like, immediately? I understand there might be a little bit of a second's delay, but, like, letting him get all the way upstairs is crazy. Also, this is another reason why people think that he might have had something to do with it, because of directly making sure you fuck with the crime scene and making sure people know you just fucked with the crime scene completely negates all DNA evidence of yourself.
Correct.
So people think that that might have been a immediate little thing about it. But the thing is, it's her dad. It's a child. She was like 6.
Yeah.
His DNA is going to be everywhere, like all over her clothes from washing, like things like that. So it's another one of those back and forth that is just one of the many, many things that's confusing about this case. So, also called to question during this finding is why the fuck didn't the police search the house? According to them, they say they have no reason to search the house because the ransom note did not indicate that she was in the house.
Right.
So,
I mean, it's still...
But if there's someone who came in the night and stole her, look for evidence of people.
That's what I'm saying, man.
Like, they still should have been investigating the house. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, you should have found a point of entry and all that shit.
Yeah. They so in the house they actually ended up finding, they didn't find any points of entry or any forced points of entry. There was no tracks in the snow outside. There was 2 sets of footprints inside that are still to this day unidentified. And there was a rope that did not belong to the family that was in the house. Until 2006 was not DNA tested. But
why?
There's just so
this
much
case
shit.
Sounds messy.
It is. And the thing that I was researching about it, which actually answers this question as to why it is so messy, is the exact thing that is great about the police there is the exact thing that is the worst. No one was equipped to deal with homicides and scary things because homicide and scary things don't happen there. Mm-hmm. So no one had practice, which is an amazing thing, kind of. But then when it does happen,
that's great until...
it makes everybody completely unprepared.
It's great for the community.
Yes.
Bad for the police force.
They should have immediately brought in
homicide detectives and all
more
that.
qualified people.
Yeah.
Because the way it was handled from the minute after the phone call was just completely messy. So I've been talking about this ransom note a little bit. I am actually going to read you the note in its entirety right now. And then we'll talk about why it's the weirdest point of evidence in this entire case. Here is the exact ransom note. I had to have it transcribed because it's written in super shaky, weird, like, text.
I see that.
This one is transcribed already.
That text is too small for my wacky ass eyes. Good luck.
Well, the initial one is even worse. That's the initial text.
I can read that better.
Because it's bigger?
I think it's because, I don't know, it's
because it's bigger. That's what it is. No spoilers, bro.
You're right. I was about to read that shit out loud.
I know you were. I saw your mouth start to open. I heard the yeah, before you spoke. Okay, so here we are. Mr. Ramsey, it is directed directly at the father. Listen carefully. We are a group of individuals that represent a small foreign faction. We do respect your business, but not the country that it serves. At this time, we have your daughter in our possession. She is safe and unharmed, and if you want her to see 1997, you must follow our instructions to the letter. You will withdraw $118,000 from your account. $100,000 will be in $100 bills, and the remaining $18,000 will be in $20 bills. Make sure that you bring an adequate size attaché to the bank. When you get home, you will put the money in a brown paper bag. I will call you between 8 and 10 a.m. tomorrow to instruct you on the delivery. The delivery will be exhausting, so I advise you to be rested. If we monitor you getting the money early, we may call you early to arrange an earlier delivery of the money, and hence an earlier pickup of your daughter. Keep in mind, right before pickup of your daughter, the word delivery was crossed out, was written and crossed out. Any deviation of my instruction will result in an immediate execution of your daughter. You will also be denied her remains for a proper burial. The two gentlemen watching over your daughter do not particularly like you, so I advise you to not provoke them. Speaking to anyone about this situation, such as police, FBI, etc., will result in your daughter being beheaded. If we catch you talking to a stray dog, she dies. If you alert the bank authorities, she dies. If the money is in any way marked or tampered with, she dies. You can try to deceive us, but warn we are familiar with law enforcement countermeasures and tactics. You stand a 99% chance of killing your daughter if you try to outsmart us. Follow our instructions, and you stand a 100% chance of getting her back. You and your family are under constant scrutiny, as well as the authorities. Don't try to grow a brain, John. You are not the only fat cat around, so don't think that killing will be different. That killing her will be different. Don't underestimate us, John. Use that southern common sense of yours. It is up to you now, John. Victory. SBTC.
Jesus.
That is the exact note, word for word. And I think this is the weirdest shit of the entire case. The note. So I have my notes on the note.
Well, let's hear your notes on the note. Then.
So a few things that I'm sure you probably caught up on while I was reading it. $118,000 is stupid specific. So a lot of people have called into question that. And then it was discovered in financial records that is almost exactly what he got for his bonus this year at his job.
Interesting.
So it starts to tie in a little more with that line of we respect your business but do not respect the country it serves. This is someone who is trying to incorporate his job and like what he does as like possible motive behind this. And it is someone who would have access to his work documents and know this. So the case becomes a little closer. I don't know why in a note that is a ransom note they would be so specific about who they are. It's also 3 pages long. In the actual note that it's written on, it is 3 pages long of full sheets of paper. Why the fuck is it so long and so specific?
I don't understand why they said they had JonBenét Ramsey either.
That's another very, very,
She was
weird
already...
point. So telling us we're a small group of people. First of all, small. Why are you saying small? The point is to assert power over the people. Why are you saying you're small? Second, if it is a group of people, why are you constantly going back and forth out of a group mindset saying, we have your daughter, we have your daughter, I will call you, I will do this, I will arrange this later in the note? It doesn't make sense. Because if you are in a group like that, you are in a group mindset, you're going to say we every time. Mm-hmm. The over-explaining of how everything works, also fucking weird.
Yeah.
Like, why are you giving, like, friendly reminders to get an adequate size bag, an adequate size attaché, and then, like, and also to, like, get a good night's sleep?
Yeah.
It's like, overly explained in it. Like, you know how this shit works. We've seen movies. Get the money. We'll call you. Trade. What do you mean? Why do you? And also, there's a bunch of weirdness in there with a lot of words that are very like easy, like business, and like possession, things like that are spelled wrong, but the things like deviated and attaché are spelled correctly. Attaché has the accent over the e in the note. It doesn't make sense. It's just weird, like nitpicky shit about the note that doesn't make sense. Also, this whole the words crossed out and like not practiced is super weird. There's also, you know how like when you write on a piece of paper, the page below it has the markings of it.
Yeah.
That led them to, they found the notepad because this note was written inside the house with paper and pen from inside the house.
With their own paper and pen. That's actually insane.
But that means they found that in the thing, which means that there was a second note. There was a practice note that they scrapped. They even found a little piece of it, like in the trash. They did a practice note and then did the real note and still fuck shit up. Why are you so uncertain of what you want to say? Didn't you maybe have that in your head before you showed up? That's fucking weird. Another reason that people suspect the family is because it's inside the house. It's their shit. And it's like, it's written by someone who clearly is not a kidnapper. So, just a lot of those different things don't make sense. And now that you know that it was written inside the house, this brings us to where we are in our timeline. So now in the timeline, what had to have happened, according to the story that we are given, is the kidnapper / this group breaks in. They take JonBenét. They sit down and write a note out at least twice. They write this full ransom note. They leave it on the stairs. They kill JonBenét anyway. Leave. No snow tracks, no signs of force entry, and every member of the family was inside the house during this. That is the story we are given to believe at the moment.
That's so strange.
If it is an intruder.
No snow tracks?
No snow tracks. There's only the 2 unidentified footprints in the house. Not footprints, foot tracks.
That's so fucking weird.
It doesn't make sense, which is why everybody was so easily able to believe that it was the family. Like, it doesn't make sense that it would be anybody else. The intruder theory just doesn't make sense.
It doesn't add up.
It doesn't add up at all. So, regarding the actual cause of death about JonBenét, so the autopsy report shows that she was struck in the head with something large and heavy. But then her actual, like, thing that made her, like, actually die is strangulation with one of the, it's like one of the, like, the 2 things with, like, the handle and the string in between. You know what I'm talking about?
Like a workout equipment?
No, like an actual thing for strangling. Like they get like 2 wooden things, and there's like a fishing
wire
line or something, like a wire, and they like pull like that.
Oh my god, what's that called?
I knew what it was the other day, and I had to click on the word because I didn't even know what it was called that. But
It starts with a G, doesn't it?
yes, it's like a yes, you're on the right track. It's like gratin or something. Second, I think.
Okay, great.
Groat?
That's it, groat.
Groat. Yeah, there we go.
Groat.
So that is what that was the actual ending cause of death. So they smacked her over the head with something and then strangled her with that. That thing also, by the way, the groat, was homemade in the house using materials from the house. The 2 wooden parts were broken off paintbrushes from Patsy. The string was just like the fishing line that they had found, which was all in the basement. So this thing could have been created in the basement while she was already taken down there. So obviously, other than the family, there are outside suspects. There is, let's see, we got 3 of them that I'm going to talk about. These are the main ones. So immediately, there was a man named Bill McReynolds that was suspected. At the house, he was at the house 2 days prior to this murder. This was kind of like, he was just like a local guy. He dressed up as Santa and like would go around. He was a very like community guy. Actually, there's a lot of weird parts of his life that don't make sense and like are weirdly connected. His daughter was kidnapped 20 years before this.
What?
His wife actually ended up writing a play about a child who was taken into the basement and murdered in a very similar style that JonBenét would be murdered in. And right now, before we get into the rest of the suspects and continue with him, this is an extremely large trigger warning for child misconduct, child pornography, anything that branches over crimes against a child, there is going to be mention of in the next part of this episode. Just before we get into this. So another one of the reasons that people thought he was very weird is he had a very strange fucking connection with JonBenét Ramsey. He just always talked about this little girl. And there was at one point when he was dressed up as Santa, JonBenét gave him this little bottle of glitter. And he said he was so touched because it was the first gift he'd been given while he was Santa. And he held it with him 24/7. He just kept it in his pocket. And so much so where he even brought it when he got a heart transplant. After this heart transplant, he went on the record saying that, I think it was the Denver Post that he went in to say this. He said, "JonBenét's death was harder on me than my operation," was his quote.
It's a little weird.
And the weirdest part is that he asked his wife to sprinkle that in with his ashes when he died. Fucking weird. Weird guy.
Very odd.
Other than these very strange circumstances and strange sentences that he said, there is actually no real evidence that he did anything or that he was linked to this crime. The closest that we have is that he was there 2 days prior. That's it. We also have DNA that was taken from JonBenét's long johns and underwear from when she was found. Just tiny little DNA fragments that they found that belong to an unidentified male that is still unidentified. They ran that through the FBI's database, which at the time was about 1.5 million people. No matches, but I mean, as you know, and as a lot of people know, it's not going to match anything unless they're already in there.
Correct.
So if this was just a random that had never been arrested or anything like that, they would have no DNA to compare it to. Bill McReynolds was not a match to this DNA. They tested him, did not match. So they avoided him as a suspect anymore.
This episode is pretty scary. But what's scarier is not having access to your favorite Paramount horror films like Friday the 13th, A Quiet Place, and Scream. With Paramount Plus, you have access to a mountain of entertainment, groundbreaking originals, iconic movies, hilarious reality shows, game-winning sports, and so much more. It's all here on Paramount Plus. Plans start as low as $4.99. If you bundle with Showtime, you can save up to 28%. Click the link in the description below to sign up for a free trial.
Hey everyone, today I'm here to talk to you about Skillshare. Skillshare is a platform where you can explore thousands of hands-on creative classes to better yourself in any area. These areas include TV, film, animation, creative writing, music, design, illustration, photography, anything you could think of. Whether you're here to just learn a new skill or learn how to start a small business, they have classes for everyone on Skillshare. Exclusive for our listeners, you can go on and you save 50% when you sign up for an annual plan. Make sure to click the link in our description below to sign up for your free trial and join Skillshare today. It really is one of the best places to learn any new skill. Sign up for Skillshare today.
This next one is I always fuck up his name. It's Gary Oliva, but it's spelled almost exactly like Olivia, and so I keep wanting to say Olivia, but it's Oliva.
Oliva or Oliva?
Oliva.
Oliva?
It is Oliva.
Okay.
But I'm going to say Gary, so I don't confuse myself through this, okay?
Okay, right on.
So, Gary was our next suspect. That was an outside of the family person here. Gary lived 2 blocks away at the time of the crime here. Some things that we know about Gary that does not make it seem nice is that in 2016, keep in mind this is now 20 years after the murder, this person wasn't a suspect until way, way later. In 2016, he was charged with child pornography.
Oof.
Which makes his connection to JonBenét Ramsey stronger, I guess, through a lot of conjecture there. The big part that made him a suspect is in 2000, he was arrested on unrelated drug charges, and in his backpack there was a picture of JonBenét Ramsey. This is now, keep in mind, in the year 2000. This is 4 years after the murder. So he's been carrying this with him for 4 years. When asked about the picture, he said that JonBenét's death affected him very hard. He said it was an exceptional girl who created an exceptional loss. She said that he felt moved to create a shrine to this little girl, is what he said. A monument or a shrine.
That's fucking weird.
It is fucking weird. The most damning evidence that goes along with Gary is that eventually a former friend of his came out and said the night after the murder, he got a call from Gary in a panic state saying, I hurt a little girl. I hurt a little girl. When pressed for more information, the only thing he would say is it was in Boulder, Colorado. After cross-referencing this with other reports and things like that, there is only one report of a child being hurt in all of Boulder, Colorado, and that is JonBenét Ramsey. It was also rumored that he had hurt his mom and tried to strangle his mom in the exact same fashion that JonBenét was found, with the groat. However, again, when brought in, he is not a match for the DNA.
Damn. That one was almost like...
It was almost cut and dry.
Yeah.
I'll tell you something that completely negates that cut and dry fact here in a minute, though. Once we get through this last suspect,
okay.
I got some new shit that came out in about I think it was 2016,
okay.
around the time that he was arrested for the child pornography charges.
Okay. We
had another lawyer start to look into things. It's actually the same one from the OJ trial.
Oh, okay.
Who did all the DNA involved there.
Mm-hmm.
So our last suspect that we had was John Mark Carr. He was the most famous suspect of this, other than obviously the family. He became a suspect in 2006.
10 years after?
10 years after was the first time that he became a suspect.
Okay.
So the reason he became a suspect is he started sharing emails with a journalism professor and admitted it in an email. So the journalism major had been trying to gain his trust for like 4 years. I worked with that through you.
Yeah.
Based on eye contact.
Great. I felt it.
Yeah. He'd been trying to do this, and he'd been in contact back and forth with John Mark Carr for 4 years, just trying to be friends with him, trying to see what he knew, because he already knew that he was a bad guy. He didn't know he was related to this case, though. Eventually, he starts to reveal a few things that are close to the case. Okay. He starts trying to egg him on, and eventually he gives a full confession about that he is the one that murdered her. He also uses wording that's very similar to the ransom note in his emails, which is strange. And then he starts to confess that he's in love with JonBenét Ramsey. Or he was.
Oh my God.
That was the motive behind this.
Jesus Christ.
He says that he hit her over the head with a large, like, tactical flashlight, which then answers what the blunt, hard object was from the blunt force trauma to the head. So in 2008, we skip all the way to 2008.
That's 2 years after.
This is 2 years after the confession. This man dipped after that confession, because the person he was emailing with, the journalism major, just turned over everything, obviously, to the police.
Yeah, I would.
He also went on record saying this is the worst fucking time of his entire life. The professor saying that he really had to, like, get into the mindset and respond like he was also a fucking weirdo, because he knew the second if he implied any judgment or anything like that, it would be gone. The communication would stop and he would be gone. So he said that it was like super it had a huge emotional toll on him to do this. So he immediately flees to Bangkok. John Mark Carr. Mm-hmm. In 2008, with the help of British intelligence, we find him. He actually was fleeing for different charges. He was just suspected and they were just talking about it. He was fleeing for child pornography charges in the U.S. Flees to Bangkok. He gets arrested, and police in Boulder put out a statement saying, "We apologize to the family. There is no connection to the family. We apologize for all the scrutiny you've suffered over the years." Then the DNA doesn't match.
What the fuck?
For John Mark Carr. Police never stopped investigating him, though, because he always maintained the fact that he did not work alone. Hence, 2 footprints. 2 sets of footprints in the house. However, in the middle of this investigation, even before they held this press conference saying it wasn't the parents, the police already knew it wasn't him. The former lead investigator said that it was about 18 hours before we knew he wasn't him. He started giving his statements and his confession. It wasn't adding up with the crime scene. There was too much different. So they knew it wasn't him, and then they cross-referenced and found that he wasn't even in Boulder at the time. They found pictures of him in Georgia.
So he's lying.
He's faking the whole confession for some fucking reason, for some media attention or something. I
don't see why you'd make that shit up.
I don't know, but he obviously he never got convicted for the murder. He never got convicted for it because that DNA didn't match. So now here we are in 2016, nothing's sticking to anybody. The family is still under scrutiny all the time. Enters this lawyer. He proves the DNA doesn't mean shit. All of these people are still suspects. And they're like, how? And he goes, watch. And he gets a pack of unopened underwear, opens it, puts one out, DNA tests it, and there's all types of DNA on it from manufacturing and the factories that it was made in and everything like that. Meaning all of those people who got eliminated based on DNA evidence are now 100% could be them. Just because their DNA wasn't there doesn't mean it wasn't them. Because that DNA is probably from some factory worker who made the underwear. Everybody now is back on the suspect list, which means that all of those people, excluding John Mark Carr, I'm pretty sure he didn't do it, are back to being suspects and are just as likely to do it as everybody else. So
this case is so fucked.
It is such a back and forth. It's just crazy how many different aspects there are to it. Since everybody's still involved, most people still involved are still living. I will not give my opinion on who I think did it as opposed to other true crimes that we do, because I don't think that'd be a very good idea, and I think we'd get yelled at. So
we'll do it after the show.
We'll do it after the show. So I mentioned earlier that the father still goes on these press junkets and things like that. The main reason that I don't think it's him is I'm just going to eliminate suspects. That's safe. Ish. He's looking.
I think he's cool with it.
Okay, I think. Okay, yeah, we got a thumbs up. We got a thumbs up. So, I don't think it was him because of the fact, first of all, they did handwriting analysis immediately after the ransom note was found, which they do in any note situation.
Of course.
Burke was 9. Can't spell anything. He's not spelling attaché. John came back completely negative. Patsy came back inconclusive. And another weird note is Patsy changed her handwriting after this. Intentionally. They found old handwritings of her, and after she tried to not write the same anymore, which is weird.
That is weird.
Why do that if you didn't have to be, like, if you weren't involved? If it came back as inconclusive, just keep writing normally.
Is that who you think did it?
I don't know.
Well, she's dead, though, isn't she?
Who? Patsy?
Patsy
has passed.
This is the person still alive, though, right?
That I think did it?
Yeah.
I think so. I'm not going to say a name. You're not going to get it out of me. One of the things that the dad continues to do and still does to this day is he goes on a bunch of these different press junkets and he tries to advocate to getting, number one, he tries to get her exhumed so that they can do retesting on all the DNA. Number two, he tries to, the Boulder Police Department is holding on to a bunch of evidence and they just have it stored in the storage locker and won't give it up. They do these press conferences saying, oh yeah, we're still doing it. We're still investigating. It's still at the top of our list, but they won't help. So there's a lot of people that have come back and said, I now have the DNA capability. I could probably figure out who did this shit in 2 hours with how much better our DNA has come, our DNA analysis has come in 27 years. They say, I can shut this case down immediately, but they won't release anything to get DNA tested. So the father continually is writing letters to the governor and to state representatives and things like that to try to get anything released so that he can have it sent to a lab and test it himself. He is advocating for justice 27 years later like just as hard as he was when it first happened. It's one of the reasons that I don't think that he had anything to do with it, because wouldn't you just want to just like drop it? Like,
Yeah,
it was you.
if I got away with like killing someone,
Why the fuck would you? Keep
why
bringing
would
it up?
I
Why are you?
pursue it so hard in
Yeah.
the future and not just like comfortably live? You know?
Yeah, why would you not just be like, oh, it was a tragedy, but I've moved on. Like
There's no
I've,
way.
I've,
There's no
I've
way.
grown from it. Like it just doesn't make sense, because what's the best case scenario for him if he did it?
Exactly.
They re-DNA test it and they find it was him. Doesn't make fucking sense.
Mm-mm.
Why is he pushing? He still lives there in Boulder, Colorado. He is since remarried.
Is he in the same house or no?
No,
Good.
no, they sold that house. Got it completely remodeled. They got it remodeled, sold it super quick. I don't think they actually ever stayed there again after that night.
I wouldn't.
I couldn't imagine. A lot of people, weird theorists, think that that remodel has something to do with it, because they did that very quick, is what they say. But then when you actually look at the case, it's like 8 months because they were selling the house. They were I think they were remodeling to add value to sell the house.
I've seen.
I don't think there's
remodeling
anything
go a
to
lot
that.
faster than 8 months too.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
I don't think that there's anything to that, but some people will stretch for anything,
Yeah.
So, yeah, he doesn't live there, but he lives somewhere nearby, so he can still be in contact with the police and things like that. He's pretty much under the suspicion that the police thought they solved it within an hour of being there. They thought, open, close, parents did it. Why are we still here? And that, since they had already made up their mind, they refused to look at evidence that led to anything else, because they didn't want to confuse their own investigation.
Mhm.
So we had another. What case was that?
Mhm.
Jordan Brown, correct. Absolutely, yes. It was very similar to the Jordan Brown case, where they thought it was open and shut so quick that they refused to think that anything else had happened.
That's what fucked them too. I remember.
And now it's still unsolved. The Jordan Brown case as well, technically. I mean, he went to jail for it. But yeah, it's happening here, and this one truly is completely and utterly unsolved. There is no evidence of anybody.
It's so
They just
strange.
they just have these weird little bits and bobs, like all the suspects that I listed. It's all weird stuff, but like it doesn't point to anybody. Yeah, this guy 4 years later had a picture of her in his backpack. But guess what? There's also pictures of her at CVS on the fucking magazines every like 2 months when something else comes up on it. There's a lot of back and forth to this case that just like it. Yeah, there's fucking weirdos in it, but did they do it?
Yeah.
So to this day, he still pursues that. We have no idea what happened to her, and at this point, it's kind of common belief that we probably never will. Unless Boulder releases everything to the general public, we probably will never know what happened.
That's crazy.
Mm-hmm. And that was our wild breakdown of JonBenét.
I hope John Ramsey fight has had
Peace of mind.
like, peace of mind.
I hope he gets it. Yeah, he. I will say, looking through all the different interviews and things over the years, he looks much more calm now. Over time, talking about it and explaining it, he kind of just says now, like he used to be like, I want justice, blah blah blah, and he's like, dude, if it was an adult then, they might be dead. Whoever did it. I mean, it's been like 27 years. I mean, he's old now. Like, he's an old man now.
Mm-hmm.
So if they were any older than him, they might have already been dead. He now just says he just wants to know. He just wants to know what happened to his daughter. Burke is in college, I believe. No, he's not anymore. He was. He's in college. He did the one guest appearance on Dr. Phil, which was weird, and a lot of people thought he did it after that interview because he was smiling and stuff, which is what people say. To be honest with you, I think I could make that pass as a very nervous face.
You're also on national.
You're on national TV
television.
for the first time ever about like the death of your sister, which also happened when you were 9.
Mm-hmm.
Like you probably don't even remember that much. You probably just remember like the media chaos that's trying to like come after you, because I mean they had hundreds of cameras posted up right outside of their house, aimed at their house nonstop, trying to wait for them to come out but they weren't there anymore. They would follow him everywhere because the second that it got revealed that JonBenét was a pageant star and had won, I think, 6 pageants to this point before her death, the media went crazy. They posted all her headshots as quick as possible because there's just now just tons and tons of media footage and professional photography of this child to use for all your headlines and all your reports. So it immediately was so easy picked up by everybody that it just went crazy. So yeah, the parents kept Burke away from that till he wanted to do that interview. And like I said, I think that he could go across as a nervous look on his face. I don't necessarily think he was smiling. I think he was just fucking scared and uncomfortable.
How would a 9-year-old know how to spell?
Well, the popular theory isn't that he did it all. The popular theory is that he killed JonBenét Ramsey, and then the parents helped him cover it up. That is like the Burke theory, is that happened. They thought playing or something. He hits her. Then they fake the strangulation thing with the garrote. They fake that which is why
That's in your foot.
I was gonna say grout. First off, they fake that with the homemade objects, which is also why there's no. All right, bro, relax, relax. Get him. What if you just like? What if you like actually just pulled a gun on me in the middle of the?
God damn.
I know you've been holding that shit on there for a minute. They think that's why there's no footprints in the snow and why it's like really uncomfortable, and yeah.
Well, I can give you several reasons why it's really uncomfortable.
Oh, I mean, yeah, true.
Jesus.
Yeah, there's just every like year it just appears that there's like one more new little thing that comes out that.
So we will know by the time we're about to die.
No, I don't think so. I think they're going to keep releasing one thing at a time. It's way too late.
It's far too late.
It's way too late.
Especially if they're chasing phantom DNA.
Yes, literally. I think, well, there's a company that reached out and said that we will figure it out. Because usually when they're trying to do DNA matching, they look at 15 different spots in the DNA. If those 15 spots match this 15 spots, 99.9% chance it's a match. This company has now released this technology that tests 1.5 million spots in the DNA. It is 100% foolproof. And it does it not to just a criminal database. It reaches across like everything, and it actually can find out more information from that DNA than just like gender or age. It can find out a ton about you to where they can narrow down a suspect list and actually start to look. But it's being refused to be sent there by the Boulder police.
That's
Still
wild as fuck.
Yeah.
Why would you not want to solve that?
That's the thing. That's another whole mystery is why the fuck they're so like uneager to solve. I think it's because the 3 detectives, actually no, sorry. There was 3 detectives on the case initially. Lead one retired, wrote a book about it. The other 2 are still the lead detectives and the only detectives that have been and ever will be on the case. They refuse to include any outside help.
You're having some.
I'm having a day.
Lips, teeth, tip of the tongue. Lips, teeth, tip of the tongue.
It's too late now. We're about to wrap. Should have done that
This
shit
is for the rest of your day.
Yeah, I should have done that shit 50 minutes ago. All right. Well, other than that, I mean, that's all I got. You got any more final opinions on JonBenét?
I don't know. I'm just so like.
It's such a confusing case to wrap your head around.
Yeah.
There's so many just like.
I cannot imagine how the detectives felt. Just
Dude,
like, fuck.
Yeah, the timeline also just doesn't make sense. Like how they're discovering people in 2016 that also had a charge in 2000. Why the fuck was this dude Gary not immediately questioned in 2000 when he got picked up with a picture of JonBenét in his backpack?
That's what I'm saying, man.
But was questioned in 2016 when he got arrested for child pornography charges. Doesn't make sense. There's a lot of like back and forth, like years across time jumps.
It's weird. It's weird.
It's very hard. It's very messy, and just should have been handled better, I think. But that is all we got on JonBenét Ramsey today. There's 1,000 more things that we could say about this case, but I think we'll call it here.
So the dark one.
This was a little bit of a darker one. Appreciate you guys for holding out. But a very interesting one, nonetheless.
Go watch a Creep It After Dark episode after this.
Yeah. Cheer yourself up.
Yeah.
Other than that, go watch last week's episode again to cheer yourself up. Watch me in pain. Other than that, we appreciate you guys for watching. Make sure to check out all of our stuff. And other than that, we'll see you next week, guys.
Thank you for watching or listening to this episode of Creep It 100. If you like this week's episode, please feel free to rate, review, like, and subscribe to our show. For the most up-to-date information, visit our website at creepit100pod.com, where you can sign up for our newsletter, play back any of our previous episodes, check out our community events calendar, and more. You can also follow us on our social media pages, including TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at creepit100pod. We also want to say thank you so much to all of our donors and sponsors who helped make this season possible. Because of your contributions, we were able to improve the production value of our show by purchasing new equipment. Your donations also let us continue with our production. And for that, we're extremely grateful.
If you're interested in seeing even more of Mark and I talk about your favorite spooky stuff, or just listen to us mess around, you can buy our all-access pass that will let you listen to extended versions of some episodes, different outtakes, behind-the-scenes footage, and our show after the show, Creep It After Dark, where we crack open a few drinks and get to know you, the audience, a little better. Go ahead and go to our website, creepit100pod.com/all-access to enjoy all these benefits for only $5 a month.
Join us every Monday for new episodes, and don't forget to Creep It 100.